repeat the nonconformist oath. I promise to be different. I promise to be unique. I promise not to repeat things other people say.
Welcome back to Positive Blatherings with Fitz. My name is Scott Fitzgerald, and I am at the studio in Rockvox, recording and production in Bushnell's Basin. And I have a guest today that I call the Connector because that's exactly what he is. He has put me in touch with a whole bunch of people, and I'm like, well, what do you want for this? He's like, nothing. Kevyn Rustici is right here. And I said, is it Rustici? And you're like, that's how it is in Italy, but in America, we say Rustici. So welcome, Kevyn. It's good to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And this is quite the setup that you have here, my friend.
Thank you. It's taken 3 years to get it to work this well. Knock on the wood.
Let's knock on every piece of wood.
So you're what is it that you do?
Yeah.
What exactly do you do?
So what I do for my day job is actually I work for ADP. I work as an HR technology and strategy consultant. So I help organizations kind of through these challenging times during the pandemic and really evaluate technology and evaluate what the new strategies that they've put together are and how I can help them to make more data-driven decisions from the most important asset, I believe, is really their people at the end of the day.
Sure.
So if I can help them to enable their success by making more data-driven decisions and help enable them in their roles and their function within the organization, that's really what I get to do on a daily basis. So kind of all different walks of life, but also all different size of organizations here in Rochester. And it's been a pleasant surprise on how well we're, I think, doing through the pandemic and really coming together as a community moving forward.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I've seen, and it's an old saying. I don't know the exact saying, but the idea is, in times of crisis, you either see the best of people or the worst of people. And we might have seen a bit of both, but more so the best of people, I think. Especially in Rochester, I've been very, very happy with how most folks have dealt with this and, been really supportive of local business and all that kind of stuff and coming together and helping folks out. It's inspiring.
Whatever capacity you can. And that has been one of the nicest things I've seen in Rochester. And you and I were joking about it before, but just how tight-knit of a community this really is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that has been one of the coolest things that I've witnessed too. And you put it so perfectly there too.
I try.
That's just a perfect way to put it. Is that it's a wonderful opportunity for us to kind of find common ground with one another and find out ways that we can tap into our own networks and help each other.
Yeah. So you're in the HR
world, yeah.
Sphere.
Yes. A lot of top of mind right now for a lot of organizations.
It's one of those, it's an enigma to me. It's one of those things that it's like there's other people that do that.
Yeah.
And, and I really believe it takes a very special kind of person to, one, I assume you're the kind of guy that just loves data.
Yeah, yes,
definitely. You just love that data. Like, give me more data.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, there's a specialist for that.
Started to get a stiff neck, and I was like, oh my God, data. But you take that data, and you look at it and say, what does this mean?
Yes.
And how can we take what we've just learned and make lives better, right?
Yep, exactly.
Employees, whatever. Give me an example of like, what's something recent that you've done that was a data-driven.
I think right now, obviously, with the pandemic and some of the social challenges that we've had, diversity and inclusion is obviously top of mind for most organizations.
Sure.
I think some have taken it as an opportunity as a marketing ploy for themselves, as marketing themselves as diverse and inclusive. But again, without
photo with the token black man.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think that businesses, if they are really committed to making a real change and really make that initiative of being more inclusive, because if you're not inclusive, you can't be diverse. So inclusivity starts there. But that's been probably one of the most more fun projects, is helping organizations kind of start to showcase their own data and really put put their money where their mouth is, and put the data where their opinions are no longer kind of a part of that process. And it takes all the emotion out of it that I found with data too. It's nobody's opinion. It's not their gut. It's not their instinct or intuition.
Right. It's math.
Exactly. It's fact. So one of my favorite questions to ask organizations is really, are you committed to this? And let's look at the numbers and let's see how committed you are. And let's see where improvements can be made within that entire employee life cycle from start to finish.
Yeah. I do have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
What is the difference between diversity and inclusivity?
It's a great question, and I've obviously been on trying to soak up as much as possible. A quick plug: I recently joined the board for Monroe Family Coalition
Nice.
here. So it's really always been a forefront of mine. I'll be honest; I grew up in the Catholic school world, so it's very easy to grow up in that
Stay
perfect
in your
America.
bubble. Very siloed.
Exactly. And I was very fortunate enough that my parents allowed me to go to a public high school, and that's really where I started to really see that everybody was the same. We all have the same wants, desires. It's just what opportunities have been kind of brought to you at the same, and how you took that and ran with it. But inclusivity, it really taking race out of it. It starts really with pay equity. I think if you can't even see males and females as the same, you're probably not creating that inclusive culture. So a lot of organizations are trend followers instead of trend setters. So they kind of will see what's working for other employers and try to apply that to their own business. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But we know that all effective leadership changes really have to come from the top down. And if it's not an initiative that's pushed forth by the CEO or the other key stakeholders within the organization, the change probably is not going to happen. And it won't happen.
Right.
So inclusivity is really just creating that culture of like teamwork, and that you have each other's back and you're there to support each other in whatever way that you possibly can. And I think a lot of organizations are really still chasing that inclusive culture. Diversity is obviously when we start talking about different races within the organization. So and that's why I always say you got to start with inclusivity first,
right,
to really understand because if they don't feel like they're included in the projects or the conversations or have a seat at the table, they're probably not going to buy in, and they're probably going to turn over with a very quick time. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think diversity is it's a multi-pronged approach, and we've all heard about conscious bias and unconscious bias, and that's what I think data can really show, that where kind of some of those sticking points are, and it's human nature. We're attracted to people that we have similarities with. So it's kind of just in our nature to seek out the people that we find most in like with. So it's a challenge, but I think now it's more at the forefront. I just hope, like I said, that more organizations are committed to making that change.
Yeah, I found it interesting. I was listening to an audiobook by Trevor Noah, Born a Crime, and he was taught.
I know Trevor. My sister is the biggest Trevor Noah fan I think ever. So anything that guy has ever done, I'm pretty sure I have it in my text messages from my sister.
So he talks about growing up. His father is white and his mother is black. And in South Africa, there's all these different tribes and these different groups that speak different languages and have their own customs and everything. And so when you're walking down the street, if you look like one of them, then they think you're one of them. Mm-hmm. And then if you talk like one of them, you know what I mean? So there's like these different levels. Like at first, I'll identify with you because you're a white guy, right? Yep. And then you speak English, so now I could really identify you. Yep. But if you walk in and you're Asian, I immediately whether I want to or not, I just immediately say, well, this guy's not the same as me. And that's something that I think we've come a long way. We have to have come a long way. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we have so much further to go. Mm-hmm. And how do you work in that space? What is that? What drives you every day to get in and
I think
try to make those changes?
I think at the end of the day, you really get the opportunity to take a step back. It's with the data and the information that you're taking all your opinions out of that. And it's a wonderful, you really don't want to assume anything. And that's the challenge that I think sometimes people go in with a preconceived notion and they're going to change the data to reflect that.
That's actually more what I wanted to ask you is that how do you deal with to get people to stop assuming?
Yeah. And that's where I think that's the biggest piece is starting with the data piece and starting with conversations and having those types of dialect with the institutional leaders. I mean, it really starts with them, and without them being on board, as well as the managers, like the lower tiered managers, nothing ever is effectively really going to change. So people are really trying to drive like the more learning and development strategies to raise awareness. So I like to go in and kind of a whole holistic view and really understand. And one of my favorite questions to ask organizations is like, are your employees so lucky to work for you, or are your employees, are you so lucky to have your employees be working for you? And that really will tell you a lot about the how they view either people as individuals or as referred to as bodies. I was just having a great conversation with Dr. Cass the other day, and she's from Sri Lanka. And I'll just share this quick story because it really resonated with me. In Sri Lanka, females do not assume the male's name when they get married. So it's a very different culture than what we're accustomed to here in the United States. And one of her first jobs she shared with me was the company referred to their people as bodies. And she so wittingly responded as like, "Oh, I can find you bodies. Like, I'm pretty sure there's probably a morgue around here." Like, and I died laughing because I was just like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah.
But it's that idea that people are just a number on a page, and I think that will fester down and kind of creep into some of the other areas of the business, and it's unfortunate. But my ability is like, I'm not a part of your organization. I've met with so many different businesses that I have a good idea of business acumen and how people make money, how they lose money, and where typical improvements can be made, and really focusing on the low-hanging fruit first to really make that impact. And then they start to understand how it can be applied in other areas to the organization too. So a lot of them are already doing lots with data. A lot of marketing, we all know with Facebook and some of these other social media platforms, how much data is out there. They're already applying those practices to sales and operations and marketing, but really haven't focused on how they can apply it to their people.
What about education? What about, it seems like there could be a lot of problems with inclusivity in companies, and are a lot of companies starting to provide education for some of the folks that may not have had access to it?
Yeah.
And now they have access to it working for the company so that they can expand and grow inside that company.
And education is key, right? It's the education of the managers, because odds are typically HR is assumed the liability of turnover, both voluntary and involuntary. And typically if things are going wrong, it's usually HR's fault. When things are going great, it's the CEOs, the CFOs. So they tend to kind of they've been treated like this redheaded, ugly stepchild.
You guys live under the bus,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. They're the party planners. They don't provide any value, and they're viewed more as an administrative function within the organization rather than a true business partner. And I think we're starting to see that shift right now. Personally, I think the shift right now is a lot of organizations have gone through so many challenges that they really have relied heavily on HR, and you're starting to see this shift or focus back on the people and the importance. And I think we've got so far away from that. I always refer back to my grandfather. He was flying first class all around the country and all around the world in his job. Now everybody's flying economy. It's just very different on how we approach that topic. But back to your original point about the training piece, that is an effective way. I just went through one that ADP put on, and they talked about unconscious bias and really just bringing that to light and educating people on what that looks like. And when you have these ideas, that could be what that is. But I think training is a quintessential piece to that. And without it, again, I think it will fall on deaf ears. And that's the other thing with training. If they feel like they're being forced to do it, it's not going to stick. So it's also making sure that they understand why we're doing things and how it's going to be a benefit to them and the company.
How far have we come in say 5 years or 10 years? In your professional opinion?
So I would say Rochester is a very unique market. I would say in that regard from both a technology perspective, but also a strategy perspective. Most stay in their lane. Most of them, we've always done it this way. Is the common practice.
That is like the nail in the coffin for so many areas.
I love that point. It is.
It's terrible. Well, we've always done it this way. Well, you've been doing it wrong for all this time.
I hate to burst your bubble. Yeah. No, it's like we like you want to challenge them, right? You want to challenge it. They want to bring to awareness, but we're so focused on what we do on a daily basis that our heads are really down in most cases. If we don't have the right processes in place and the right people and the right technology, odds are you're not going to be able to come up for air, and you're just so focused on what you're doing. And we've seen a push now towards consultants, because consultants are viewed as these industry experts, and they can come in and they're going to tell me everything I need to do, and they're going to give me a precise action plan, and we're going to follow that to the T, and my problems are going to go away. Well, anybody that's worked with other consultants in the past, that's not always the case. So I think to tell you from a technology perspective and overall strategy, Rochester, I jokingly say, is about 5 to 7 years behind most other areas, like more metropolis areas. And I mean, I'm from the southern tier originally, Elmira, and you're talking even they're probably a few more years behind Rochester. Yeah. So. But I think we're making headway, and I think this pandemic is really kicking some people in the butt to start making some of these changes and really wake up and smell the coffee and start thinking outside the box.
A lot of people got kicked in the butt during the pandemic. Some people needed that kick, and some people did not need that kick. And it's a different kind of kick.
Yeah.
So go back to your childhood, go back to your early years of sort of developing how you are today in your profession. What got you on this path?
I'll be honest, I would never thought I was ever going to be interested in HR.
Everybody says that.
I grew up in a culture. My first job out of college, first job was not too far down the street from here. I was shining shoes at Cobblestone Creek Country Club. So,
wow.
Yep, college degree. I don't
now
remember.
Get your shine box.
Yeah, exactly, please. Don't use brown. That is a beige. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. And you get to see different walks of life, right?
Oh, yeah.
And definitely, one of the things when I first moved up here, it was very apparent, east side versus west side, and it really did not make sense to me.
That's right.
I got
west side or stay out of here.
Exactly. Like I never go to the west side, like all that kind of stuff. I live on the west side, full disclosure, and it's still nice. We still breathe the same air. We still got some restaurants. We got some awesome things.
The west side is gorgeous.
Yeah,
a lot
we got
of
a lake.
big pieces of land out in the west side. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. But to go back to that, I think. Humble beginnings, right? I think that working my way up and seeing how you had to work hard in some of these organizations, I quickly realized, though, back to you calling me the connector, was exactly that. Like your network was your net worth.
Yeah.
And very quickly, with the 1 to 2 degrees of separation here in Rochester, I was like, okay, how do I start to meet new people? How do I help others? And if you're genuine and really don't have a hidden agenda and you help people, like you said, like what do you want, Kevin?
Like, what do you want from me?
It just bodes well for myself, and it helps me with what I do in my career as well.
So one of the things that actually I'm kind of annoyed with, not about you, but about with you connecting me with people, is that I'm so busy that I haven't followed up with anybody that we've connected with, and I really mean to.
Yeah.
I'm just, next thing I know, it's 6:00 and I got to go home and make dinner.
Yep.
And then I'm back here the next day, and this happens, and that comes up, and this comes up. So it's like, man, I'm at that point now where I really need someone to come in and help me.
Yes.
But only if they are like willing to come in and work for free.
Free. Yeah. Free is good. Free is always good.
But I think it's really cool that you really, I was blown away, because I'm like, what do you want? And you're like, no, I see people, and I think I make a connection in my mind, and I think that those two people should get to know each other. Mm-hmm. And I know I've done that too. I've made introductions on emails and been like, hey, you're doing this and you're doing this, and I think it would be great if you guys work together. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. But I love that you're doing that. It's really cool, and the fact that you aren't doing it for any ulterior motive makes it more
and
enticing.
My wife gave me a good quote last night that if you are doing those, if you're kind and you have a hidden agenda, it's manipulation. So it's like you have to go in there with the right mindset. I'm not there to manipulate anybody, and being genuine. And I think it's relatively rare. I mean, I think right now, because we've been so on our own and in our own homes and not really socializing, that kindness goes a long way. And I think if you never know how you can impact somebody's life. One of my good friends now, Tyler, him and I connected in late December, and he shared with me last night how I helped him in his life, and you have no idea how you're impacting somebody. And I was like, man, just from a couple connections and just a few chats, like I was able to do that. And it touched your heart, but again, it's not really why I do it.
Yeah.
I do it to really genuinely want to help people. And like you said, connect people, but you definitely have to think outside the box a little bit and be creative as to why you're connecting people as well.
Yeah. And it's a tough line to walk because as you know, we have Bottom Feeders, our feature film. Yeah. And in the process of making that, which, was like 4 years from the first auditions to the time we finally finished, the whole time we're like, here's the budget. Like the budget was $250,000, then it was $200,000, then it was $70,000, then it was $50,000, then it was like scrape together all the quarters that we could find,
You got any cans we can return?
Exactly. And so, but all the time we're trying to, because this is what filmmakers do. You try to get funding.
Yeah.
You want to find. You're always looking for someone who's, hey, are you looking to invest in a movie? Because there's always you always hear about those stories about that guy. Who
just has more money than he knows what to do.
Right.
With.
He's like, and here, the guy just gave me a check for $100,000. And I went out and made my movie. And it's like, where are those people? They're not here. So being nice and not having an ulterior motive, and that whole manipulation thing we were just talking about, it's such a thin line to walk, because in my heart, I did nice things for people, but in my heart, or maybe in the back of my mind, I was like, boy, it would be nice if, because I do this, it comes back to me that this person is able to fund the movie or knows somebody who will fund the movie. It wasn't necessarily the reason why I did the nice thing, but there was that there. Oh, yeah. So I guess maybe there's different levels of manipulation. Like it was really just a little bit of manipulation, not a whole bit, not bad.
I promise. Yeah.
It's a tough line to walk, though.
It is. Yeah. And I think, but you got to go in with, no expectations, I think, too, at the same time. And I think that would definitely change your mindset.
Yeah, because then if you don't get what you want at the end, you're all pissed off.
Exactly. You're not upset. Yeah, you got nothing, no stress. Like if you go in with no expectations and you're helping somebody, I mean, that's how you develop real relationships with people. And I think really that's what everybody's looking for, is to develop this common ground of understanding of each other, what our wants are, what do we do, and how do we help people. And I always wanted to be that guy, and again, I always call myself a consultant, but at the end of the day, if you boil it down, it's sales. But I wanted to be that guy that always had someone in their back pocket. Maybe it's the Italian in me.
You always got a guy.
Got a guy. Yeah, exactly. But it was just a way for me to help others and kind of cut through all the BS and make sure that I'm connecting with like-minded people that are really there at the end of the day to make sure that they're providing value and helping. Not just lining their pockets with money. Yeah. So it's been awesome so far. It's been a wild journey. But the pandemic, when sales were slow, it was like, what else can I do? How else can I be of assistance? And it was really, I started seeing on LinkedIn and some of the other social media platforms how many people were in between jobs and looking for work. I talk to HR people all the time and recruiters. It's like, hey, this is nothing. Like, let me just send a message. It takes me 15 seconds. I'll let them know what you're interested in, and then you take it from there.
Have you made a lot of good connections?
I think I got like 10 plus people jobs actually.
That's fantastic.
I just got another note last week from Lorraine, and she would let me know that she just accepted a new HR position out in Batavia. So
that's great.
That's what it's all about.
And and just kind of like my wife and I are really big believers in karma. Yeah. And doing stuff to do stuff, and just basically doing the right thing, being nice to others, being caring, and it will come back to you.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't just sit there and go like, well, I'm gonna here you go, karma.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your describe your perfect day? What's your perfect day?
Oh God. We'll go pre-pandemic, I guess. Perfect day for me is honestly, I've been getting up much earlier than what I did pre-pandemic. I have found really an opportunity. My wife and I are expecting our first child here in July.
Congratulations.
So, obviously, I got to throw a plug out for my wife, making that deposit in the bank that my dad puts it. So that's literally what he refers to it as. And I was like, oh, that's a good way to put it.
The baby bank?
Yeah, exactly. No, they're just the whole marriage bank.
The marriage bank.
Buying your points. And
happy wife, happy life.
Exactly,
That's
exactly. Right. And to let you know, he is an accountant. So that's definitely how he thinks. He's got that financial aspect. But I love to golf. I love to get out. And I really love spending quality time with friends and family. I really try to stay off. I'm not on, the only social media platform that I am on is LinkedIn. I think it's a grand distraction from what we have going on right in front of us. So being able to spend time with friends and family and playing golf, and Rochester has an unbelievable, just paths if you want to bike. I picked up street biking like 2 years ago. Really enjoy that, but just trying to keep my mind busy and trying to always impact somebody's day. I will tell you, like, grandfather passed away 3-4 weeks ago
Sorry.
And no need to be sorry. He was 98 years old, lived a beautiful life, and he was a World War II veteran. But it really stood out to me is, like, how can you impact somebody's day each day? If you just focus on one person, pay it forward, impact their day, that's 365 people that you could develop a relationship with that you maybe never have known before. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. I really enjoy trying different things, new things, and getting outside. I think is most important too. I hate being. That's why
it's nice outside today.
Oh my God, I know.
Today's gorgeous. What are you doing in this studio?
The windows are closed, but
I had to close the shade because the sun was it was crazy. It's so nice out. I have my window open. I don't think I'm supposed to. It's the little crank up window in the control room.
That's amazing. This is quite the operation, I got to admit. This is a lot more equipment than what I'm worth, that's for sure.
Well, this is way more than what I'm worth, too. Easy. So where you see yourself going, say, in 5 years? Like, what's your...
God, that's $1 million question. If I had a crystal ball, I wish I want to be obviously always improving. I think I've seen it over the pandemic, and we've seen people just focus on ways on how you can improve, get that 1% each day. I think Simon Sinek was the gentleman that had coined that phrase. But it really is like I would love to, again, always find new challenges, all avenues. I like to dub myself as a serial entrepreneur that's never gone into entrepreneurship. So I like to come up with ideas. It's driving the action plans that is the hard part, like you said, with the financing thing.
Yeah.
But you never know. I genuinely love helping people. And that's probably why I'm on so many nonprofits, committees and recent board positions, is that was a way I wasn't getting that from my day job. I was still helping people, but I wanted to do more in the community. And so we'll see. We'll see where life's journeys takes me. Right now, I'm really focused on the workforce and data analytics piece. And I think that's going to be a growing trend and really helping some of these HR professionals that have been kicked in the corner and kicked in the teeth, and they're kind of a dog and beat up, to really help them and promote their careers and help them to raise that business acumen and become more of those strategic partners that they want to be. So that's kind of, I think of where I was, and then I'll have a 5-year-old at that point in time. So my time might be limited. Hopefully he's playing soccer or something like that.
Kids really, it's the great unknown.
Yeah.
But I wish you the best of luck with your family.
Thank you.
I can remember back, so many years ago where we were just about to have a child. It would be 2003.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And now my son's about ready to graduate high school.
That's incredible.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that. But I have a feeling that you're not going to be one of those guys that regrets missing a moment, because you won't.
Yeah.
You'll be there.
I'm going to try my damnness. My dad was definitely, he always came back to that. And I was like, you were there as much as you possibly could be. But I think the pandemic has really opened up my eyes to work-life balance. And it really put back into a focus that I think men in general and some females obviously as well, we put our careers as our net worth, I think, as well. And we put that as what defines us as an individual. And I just don't think that that's true. I think that it's an outlet. We found it as a comfortable outlet, but there's other ways that you can find your passion. Find something that helps get you up in the morning, and maybe it's in person, or maybe it's a thing, or maybe it's just an activity. But I think the work-life balance piece is really where we're coming as a country as well.
Yeah, we're like leagues behind.
Yeah, I mean,
Europe and stuff.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I have conversations with people in the UK, and they're like, "You guys do this silly stuff over the United States." And I'm like, "Yeah, we're trying. We're gonna see what we can do." But yeah, it's definitely a fundamental change.
Yeah.
And really focus on me. I mean, sometimes it's okay to take a break and focus on yourself and see where the life's journey's got to take you. And I think one thing that I've learned from all the networking that I've done through the pandemic is that everybody has something to teach you from their life story. And a lot of people have a crooked mile journey. It's not as linear as everybody likes to think when we're kind of coming out of high school.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to do this, and this is all I'm going to do, and I'm going to work my way up, and
Right.
I'm going to own that company one day.
If you went back to when I was in high school and told me this is what I'd be doing, I would have thought you were high.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
You have no idea. You have no idea. I mean, I got a degree in biology. We rarely do, I think, what we get
Seriously?
our degrees in. Yeah.
You have a degree in biology.
Yes. So
Wow.
Yeah. My guidance counselor did not tell me I'd be shining shoes. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's really cool, man. So people can find you on LinkedIn if they want to.
Definitely. Spell Kevin with a Y, so don't get confused with that.
Yes.
Kevin with a Y.
Right there on the screen.
You got it right. Perfect.
And from now on, we call you Kevyn Rustici.
There we go. There we go.
Don't say, I don't know why I said it with a Russian accent. Got my accents all confused.
Exactly. Now you got them all mixed up.
Thanks for coming in and blathering, man. It's been great.
Appreciate it. Thanks again, Scott. I appreciate it greatly.
Good luck with all the connecting that you're definitely going to be doing.
Hey, happy to help.
Now let's see if I can push the right buttons, shall we?
Shall we?